I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Ha, Rakah, Kodash, double honors to our apostles and elders which rule Great Millstone well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom, Wa Abba Babal. So we're in the year of 2022, the year of the Lord turning it up, which he definitely is doing. All right, and you got the heathen raging, okay? Psalms 2, all right? The heathen imagine a vain thing. It says in Psalms 2, it says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. All right, they want to pretty much kill us, the prophets, especially because we have the name of Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahushai, in remembrance through the Holy Spirit. Yahweh is our Father, the power of Israel that raised Yahushai from the dead. Yahushai is the true Messiah, as it is written. Yahushai is the King of Kings, Lord and Lords. Lord of Lords. It says in Psalms 83, verse 2, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. And that's why all these false prophets are popping up on TikTok and on YouTube and all these different platforms. You got a bunch of false prophets popping up because Esau is trying to make war with the saints. All right? Soon he's going to make it mandatory worldwide that you have to have this device, an RFID implantable micro CHIP for buying and selling, implanted in your body, all right, which is pretty much going to be the declaration of the end of his kingdom, because as soon as that happens, soon after that, nuclear missiles are going to fly and devour the flesh of America at the coming of Yahushua. It says, the tabernacles of Edom, all right? All the heathen are against us, but who are they confederate to? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, all right? It says, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab. Moab means of the Chinese. The Chinese is dealing with Asia, all right? Ishmael is the Arabs. So the Arabs of Asia, and the Hagarines. It's Hagar, which is the mother of Ishmael. So another set of Arabs, all right? The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarines. Gabal, which is another form of Esau, and Ammon. Ammon are the Japanese. And the Amalek. Amalek are the small hat, big nose counterfeits in our land that Kanye West was speaking about and lost billions of dollars. All right. Also, Gaddafi, you can look it up. When he did his UN speech, all right, he pretty much threw the Amalek under the bus, saying they were the ones that had part in the assassination of JFK. And what happened to Gaddafi? His people loved him, and then all of a sudden they show you that they hate him and tore him to pieces. And then who took credit? Hillary Clinton. We came, we saw, and he died. That's her quote, you know? So the Edomites, the so-called white men, is ruling the world, and all the other nations are joined to Esau, all right? It says the Philistines, which is the Hamites, with the inhabitants of Tyre, the Hamites. Ashur also is joined with them, the Assyrian. They have Hopen, the sons of Lot, Selah. So they're telling the world that China is going to rule next. The sons of Lot is Ammon and Moab, which are the Japanese and the Chinese. So they're telling the world that the Chinese are going to be the next to rule. Okay? And the Lord ain't going to allow it. All right? Look at what happened in Babylon. Let's go all the way back to Babylon. Genesis 10 says, Genesis 11. It says, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech, which today they have it, technology. All right, it don't matter where you're from, you got the technology, whether to learn the language or even to translate the language, so where everybody's able to communicate. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And this is right after the flood that happened during the time of Noah, which Nimrod is the head of this, and he's the son of Ham. All right, today the Hamites are the Africans. All right, but you have nations mingled together. All right, even Moab, you got Moab in Africa today. All right, you have Israelites in Africa today. All right, it says, and even in the past, you got to remember, Moses married an Ethiopian woman. All right. So then it says, and they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men builded. And Yahweh said, behold, the people is one. What are they doing today? Being one. They're saying they're together. Everybody needs to come together. All right, right here. This was from November 19, 2022. It says, calls for global unity dominate security forum in Manama. All right. Arab and Western officials urge greater international cooperation on Saturday to confront challenges posted by climate change, which they're referencing that flood that happened before they built the Tower of Babel. Terrorism, all right, which pretty much they're saying that the Lord is a terrorist. Conflicts and the energy crisis, all right, which they have the power to take peace from the earth, and they use that sword, which they were blessed with, to take peace from the earth. All right. Soon they're going to use the nuclear missile to take peace from the earth. But Yahweh Shai, he comes right at that cue. All right. That's his cue to enter this realm. All right. But I just wanted to make the point that this is what the leaders of the world are talking about today. The same that were in the past. All right. Trying to build this Tower of Babel in the past, trying to escape the judgment, which was what? A flood that happened before. So they were trying to build a tower to heaven, all right, to try to do all the wickedness that they could do, and even try to, overthrow the Lord, Yahweh, the supreme power of heaven, all right, which he sets up kings and puts them down, all right. So Esau was set up over the Israelites because we sinned against our power. So Esau is a weapon that was formed against us that shall not prosper. All right. So Genesis 11 verse 6, and Yahweh said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, which once again you have, the technology to be able to speak in one language. And this they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one and another's speech. So the Lord ain't with it for the world to come together under the rulership of the heathen. The world is going to be in peace under the Israelites, because we're going to rule the world according to the commandments and judgments and statutes of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. All right? But he changed the languages, which all the different languages you hear today, they go back to Hebrew. All three sons of Noah spoke Hebrew: Shem, Ham, and Japheth. All right? So the Lord ain't down with a new world order. All right? He's not down with global unity under the heathen. Another one was Daniel 8. All right? Talking about the Greek Alexander, all right, which is known as the Great of the Greeks. It says in Daniel 8, verse 21, and the rough goat is the king of Greece, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. The first king is Alexander the Greek. And this is speaking of when he was fighting the Persian wars. The ram, verse 20, the ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia. Now I'm going to jump up. All right. And it comes down here and it says, let me get to the point. Verse 4, I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward. So the Medes and the Persians ruling the world, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great, which they reference this in the movie 300. All right? Xerxes being the greatest of the Persians. It says, and as I was considering, behold, an he-goat, which is the Greeks, came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes, which is that first king, Alexander the Greek. And he came to the ram and had two horns. And he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran into him in the fury of his power. So the Greek-Persian war, all right, wars. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler, which that word means rage, against him, and smote the ram, and brake his two horns. So he took the authority from the Medes and the Persians, which were united. The Persians were the more powerful ones. All right? That's why it says that they were lifted up on one side. All right? It says, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. So he conquered them. The Greeks did, starting with Alexander the Greek. But he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great. And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. So the Lord killed Alexander the Greek in Babylon at 32 years old. He ended his conquest very young, at 32 in Babylon. Why? Because he was trying to rule the entire world. He was trying to make global unity in his time. It says, and for it came up for notable ones toward the four winds of heaven, which his kingdom was broken up in between four of his generals. All right, which they fought amongst each other. It says, and out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land, which they fought against Jerusalem. And as soon as you start to fight against Jerusalem, all right, what is Hanukkah? Hanukkah is that the Greeks got defeated and the Israelites had victory by the power of Yahweh, because we have it. in the Apocrypha. And this is why they removed the Apocrypha from the King James Bible. All right, because it reveals truths about what happened in the history and who is who. All right, it says in the first book of Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1, it says, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian. So they're always changing their identity, the so-called white man, and also changing people's identity, like the so-called American Negro. At one time they were Afro-Americans, one time they were colored, one time they were, what is the other one? They called them, well, today they call them blacks. All right, when in fact they're the Jews. They're the real tribe of Judah, the so-called American Negro. All right, but just like they do that, they call Judah black. All right, they call the so-called white man calls himself white, which he is not. He is actually red, and that's easy to see with any Edomite wearing a white t-shirt or a white collared shirt or with white hair. All right, you can see it when their skin, it shows the color of red because they lack melanin, and their blood shows forth through their skin, which is the sign which the Lord put upon Cain, that he was the wicked. All right, and Esau, the forefather of Edom, all right, he had that same birth defect, being born, all right, with that lacking melanin. Cain, he was born dark, killed his brother because his brother Abel was doing right, and Cain received that mark. So the Bible tells you that reincarnation takes place. So Edom, all right, Esau was the reincarnation of Cain, the one that killed his brother. That's why when Esau and Jacob were in their mother's womb, they were fighting because Cain was trying to kill Abel again. Esau was trying to kill Jacob. All right. And the Lord said there's two different manner of people in you, two different nations. All right. The so-called white man is not equal to the Israelite, the so-called black man, the so-called Latino man, and the so-called Native American Indian man. That's why the Lord blessed him with that sword, because he's weaker than us and he could not conquer the world without that sword. All right. But once the Lord gave him the sword, pretty much, Esau being a sword, a weapon that is formed against the Israelites, he began to slaughter. All right. You look at Alexander the Greek. He was known for conquering nations. All right. It says, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, all right, but their biblical name is Edom, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes. So he conquered them. That he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So that first king, all right, the he-goat in Daniel 8 is dealing with Alexander the Greek, the beginning of the ruling of the so-called white race, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, which they do today. Look at America. Look at Europe's history. All right. It says, and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. So he was proud, because just like today, it was back then. All right. What does it say? Who could make war with him? Revelation 13, verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. The heads it's talking about is the 7 heads of this beast system. Verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads. So this vision that John, which is known as the Revelator, on the island of Patmos was receiving, was of the future beast system. All right, and it had 7 heads and 10 horns. The 7 heads is Greece, starting with Alexander the Greek, Rome, France, Britain, Spain, Germania Major, Germania Minor, which the Romans eventually conquered. All right, because the Greeks came before the Romans. All right, but the Romans were that dreadful kingdom that treaded, that destroyed the world in their known time. It says that they didn't care about the old or the young. All right, that stamped the dust of the earth with their. Let's just go there. Deuteronomy 28. It says. There it is. Verse 36. Deuteronomy 28, verse 36. Yahweh shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether Yahweh shall lead thee. All right? Which this nation is going to be a dreadful nation. Let's see. It says in verse 49, and Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, which is the Romans, which came after the Greek Edomites. The Romans were Edomites, so-called Caucasians as well. From the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, which the Edomites, they always use the eagle. Look at the Great Seal of America. All right, there's a movie with, I believe his name is Channing Tatum. I don't know how to say the homosexual's name, but he has a movie of him being a Roman soldier, and it's called the eagle, because the Edomites always used the eagle as a symbol of themselves. It says, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, because they spoke Latin. All right, remember the Lord changed the languages. Everybody was speaking Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew, not this Yiddish bullshit, but Paleo Hebrew. All right, that's why they have the Hamites speaking Phoenician. When you go into that Phoenician, the Phoenician is the Hebrew language. All right, so when he changed the language, you had like the Greeks speaking Greeks. You had they spoke Greek. The Romans spoke Latin. So it says, tongue thou shalt not understand, which is that Latin. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young, which they do today. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. All right, so this dude, Esau, the so-called white man, is a weapon that is formed against us. All right, but once again, like it says in Isaiah 54, verse 17, I'll start at 16. Behold, I have created the smith. The smith is Esau, the Cain. You had Tubal Cain, all right, in the past. All right, it said, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, which back then they were making hand sword, swords that you held in your hand. Today they got guns, which is a sword. They got needles, all right. They got nuclear weapons, which are they're swords that are created to destroy. It says, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, which the so-called white man is the devil, and he was created to steal and destroy. And I have created the waster to destroy. That nuclear missile he gave to Esau. The Lord gave it to Esau, the so-called white man, to destroy his own kingdom. America is going to be destroyed. That's why the Lord said, I seen Satan, which is pertaining to the ruling class of the so-called white race, the Illuminati, fall like lightning. because their end is soon, and it's going to be the destruction of America. The heifer that they've been, getting fat on, by the consumption of its citizens. All right, the Lord is going to destroy this fat heifer, America. That's why famine, all these things, all these plagues that are going to come upon America, because America thinks that it can never. I'm sorry, let me finish that. It says, verse 17, no weapon that is formed against thee, talking about the elect of his Israel, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. And that's what we do by doing these videos. All right, and when we're out there on the highways, it says, this is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahweh, because we're being obedient to Yahweh through Yahweh Shai. All right. So this devil, all right, his intentions is to kill. It says in Revelation 13, verse 1, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So once again, those 7 heads I named off, those 7 country, Germana Major and Minor, that pertains to multiple countries. But it deals with the European Union, all right? And 10 horns is the kings of the European Union. And upon his horns 10 crowns, which they rule. And upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Once again, they call themselves all these names, right? They call themselves white. They call themselves Greeks, which they are not. They call themselves Romans, which they are not. They call themselves, even today, they call themselves, a Jew, ISH, all right, counterfeits, all right. They call themselves Spaniard, which they are not. They call themselves Germans. They are not. They are Esau, Edom, all right. They are the so-called white race, the red devil the Bible speaks of. They are not white. They are red. That's why it says. And they talk shit, man. They think they're gonna overcome. They think they're gonna overtake the elect. They think that they're gonna slaughter the Israelites, but the Lord, all right, he's moving the devil, all right, and he's going to allow this devil to kill the 2/3 of his own people, the Israelites, all right. The Lord is going to use Esau as a sword against his own people. But once again, that weapon that was formed against the Israelites will not prosper against the elect. He may get a couple elect, but that's only to fulfill the prophecy in Revelation 6, that he would behead so many of us for this testimony. But that's not all of us, just like it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, all right, that we shall not all sleep, we shall not all die, but we shall all be changed at the coming of the Lord Yahweh Shai. It says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, Alexander the Greek. All right, and I was looking into this. I looked into this before, but Alexander the Greek was known for using leopard skin. He wore it, and also his horse wore it into battle, or even in their everyday. That was his motto in that time. See, there it is of him in battle with that leopard skin on his horse. See, there you go. But it's also said that he wore leopard skin as well. All right, let me show you the pictures of it. There you go. See it? That head on his head is supposed to be a leopard. Okay? It says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, Alexander the Greek, and his feet were as the feet of a bear. So the feet of a man is the end, right? You're born head first. The end of the man is his feet. So the end of this beast system of the so-called white man is that bear, which is considered Russia today. All right? Russia, all right, is going to slaughter the Edomites in America using the nuclear missiles, those great swords. It says, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, which is UK, Great Britain. Okay, and you can see what's going on over there because their last prime minister, Truss, all right, Liz Truss, she was openly speaking about using nuclear missiles, even if it destroyed the world. All right, woe unto them that war against their maker. It says, and the dragon gave him his power, which this beast was built in the reincarnation of Rome. All right, and his seat and great authority, which Rome was ruling the modern world back then. And then it fell, which you had the Dark Ages when pretty much you had even Israelite ruling the Roman Empire as emperors. All right. One of them was what was his name? Salakia. Marcus Aurelius, the last of the good 5 Roman emperors. That was an Israelite that was sitting as Caesar, all right, in the place of Caesar ruling. All right. Even, what's his name? Constantine. Constantine was an Israelite. All right. But, they had the way of the heathen mingled in with the knowledge of being an Israelite. All right. That's why you had this Christianity develop, which is really a slave religion the heathen used to keep the Israelites today in subjection to their image. That's why they set up Jesus Christ, which is a false image and a false God and a false name, which has no salvation. All right. And it says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, which is the Roman Empire falling, which was about 100 AD, or like 96 AD. You had Israelites already ruling, all right, until the 400s. What was it? AD, and then the 1400s is pretty much, when they say that Esau began to enslave the Israelites, which is known as the Renaissance. Let's see when the Renaissance. All right, so like it says there, to the 15th century. All right. It says Renaissance is a period in European history marking the transition from the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, which dark-skinned Israelites ruled the modern world at that time, to, let's see what this is, modernity, a typical, let me see how to say this word.
Modernity,
the quality or condition of being modern. So to modern days now. All right, the so-called white race that came out of the hidings of the cliffs of the rocks to be in suits to rule the world are the same wicked Greeks and Romans in the past. All right? There ain't nothing new under the sun. It says, and they're going to do the same thing. All right? That's the main point I was getting, is they're trying to set up a NWO just like they did in the past, like the Greeks did in the past. All right? But it's going to end. It's not going to end well for them, but it's going to end by their destruction. And the Lord gave them that sword, which he had them build against us, but it's going to be used upon them. All right? Because we're repenting. We're becoming corrected in the spirit by our power Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai. It says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, which is that Roman Empire, then the Dark Ages, and then it was healed, all right? And his deadly wound was healed, Renaissance. And it was healed by America coming into creation. And all the world wondered after the beasts. All right, America's the only ones to ever drop atomic missiles on a people, like they did with Japan. to drop missiles on the Arabs like they do. All right. So even Russia said that. Putin, he said America's track record, if they have the ability to strike us with nuclear missiles, we need to take that threat seriously, because look what they've done to the world. Look at, what's his name, Saddam Hussein. They lied and said that there was weapons of mass destruction, and when they went in there, they said they found nothing. But that man still hung and died for what they said, for those false accusations. All right? So the devil, the so-called white man, is the wicked that is ruling today in modern times, since the past. All right? We had a little short period, about 1,000 years, but Jake, the Israelites, we went off and still worshiped false gods in that time. It was in this time that the Lord brought us back to the remembrance of Yahweh, our Heavenly Father, the true God of Israel, the Almighty, all right, through His Son, Yahweh Shai, okay? Because this is the last time. We're done with slavery now. We're coming out of slavery, all right? We're building up a ruling mindset through the Spirit, all right, which we have our example, Yahweh Shai, and that's what the wicked are angry about, because they know that they have but a short time. It says, and they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, which they pretty much build their kingdom in the image of Rome. That's why their, law is in Latin. That's why their medical field is in Latin. That's why their politics, when they're in their Congress and in their Senate buildings, those go back to Roman architecture, and even further than that to Mount Seir. All right, it says, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, and who is able to make war with him? So America has that same reputation today with EU, which they have NATO. It says, and there was given unto him, which Rome had the same reputation in the past. It says, and there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue for 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations, which that came to him through the blessing of his father Isaac, which is really Yahweh Shai. He didn't only bless him with the sword, but he blessed him with the fatness of the earth. He was allowed to rule for a period of time. Now we are at the end of that time. And soon the kingdom, all right, the ruling of this world is going to be handed over to the Israelites. This is why the earth will be in complete peace, because you're not going to have wickedness happening like you have today under the so-called white Christians' watch. All right, Google it. All right, Google it. The number one religion in the world is Christianity. All right, which shows you Christianity is bullshit. It's a slave religion, and there's no truth to it. The truth is in the Holy Scriptures, but you got to have the ability to break it down, which comes through the anointing of the Holy Spirit in the name of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, which these Christians do not have, all right, because there's no prophecy in their churches, all right? And once again, the number one religion in the world is Christianity, and look at the state of the world. It's the most wicked that it's ever been. So these Christian churches are nothing more than a bunch of whorehouses. All right? It says, and the Islam religion is the same shit. All right? It says, and it was given, let me go down more. It says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. And they look what they did when that juicy fruit came out, and they started mandating it for travel, for work. All right, everybody took that shit. Everybody got in line. All right. So the world worships the so-called white man and what he says they do. But the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel will not. All right. And that's why when he makes that MOTB mandatory for buying and selling, all right, which is him trying to bring forth that new world order, the one unity, all right, under the devil, ain't going to fly. All right, because we're going to reject it, and he's going to make war with us, and he's going to find himself fighting Yahweh Shai, the King of Kings. And he's pretty much going to throw their ass right out of their throne. Take that crown, their head with it, and he's going to give the authority to the elect of the nation of Israel. Which, Hanukkah, what happened? You had the wicked come in as a weapon against Israel, but when Israel repented, the Lord gave them back the temple, gave them back Jerusalem, the city of peace. And that's what Hanukkah is celebrating. The return of Israel to the promised land. And that's where we're headed. We're heading back to the promised land after the Lord cleanses that land by fire. All right, which is in the scripture. He tells you that all the troops of the world are going to be gathered there, Armageddon. And he's going to turn them into dust and smoke. It says in Revelation 13, verse 8, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So that shows you who you worship. If they said, go take that MOTB, and you think you wouldn't, if you took the jab, because they told you to, you will take the MOTB, because they tell you to. All right? But us that are of the hopeful elect are written in the book of life, the Lamb's book of life, and the Lamb is the one that's going to save us, all right, from this beast and his system. Okay, Revelation, get it, 3:10, I believe it is, 3:10, because it says, Yahweh Shai says it, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. All right? So you don't want to lose faith anytime soon. All right? You want to hold faith and grow your faith. And the way you do that is by being in the Spirit. All right? Because the Lord is doing away with this so-called white man's kingdom, just like he done in the past. All right? Because look what he did to the Edomites back then. You could read the whole 2 books, Maccabees, all right, and get the picture. But at the end of the day, Israel won, all right? The devil tried to come down with great wrath in the past, and like he's going to do in the future, and the Lord is going to overcome him, okay? So let me go down to what he does here. Antiochus Epiphanes, all right, pretty much the son of Antiochus the king, all right, and when he came into power, it said wickedness increased. And it says, this is what he did, watch. Let me see, where does it say? It tells you that he came and spoke peacefully. That is verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom, which Antiochus is an Edomite, all right, to his whole kingdom, that all should be one people. See, that's what's going to happen in modern days. The so-called white man is going to put it out, whether it's through the technology, in your language, all right, or if, you come across them in real time, in your language. The Lord is going to make it where they make this MOTB mandatory for buying and selling. Just like the Greeks did back then. They did branding. They did where you couldn't be circumcised. That's why they were walking around naked. When you know the history, the reason they wanted you to walk around naked was because first they were flamers, right? They were homosexuals, but also to look at your penis to see if you were circumcised, because it was a commandment for us to be circumcised, but the wicked, they're against that. All right, they're against the commandments. So then they knew you were an Israelite and following the customs of your God, Yahweh, if you were circumcised. See, and then you had no ability of buying and selling back then. So today, in the modern time, the same devil, all right, that was a Greek and a Roman, now has technology. So he's going to say through his technology, you got to become all one people by taking that device to be able to buy and sell in his wicked ass kingdom. And everyone that should leave his laws, meaning of your ways, we have the laws of Yahweh. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. So even the heathen, you got, like, look at Moab today. They didn't wear suits. They didn't wear monkey suits like today. They wore imperial robes. But because of the wicked ruling the world, they removed that from them. The Japanese, the same thing. All right? They had their robes. China was known as a forbidden city. Now you got Chinese hoes flapping 2 butt cheeks on TikTok. All right? So the wicked has done it over again. He's saying you got to, let's go back to that Revelation 13. It says, and verse 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, which is America, the 2-party system, Republic and Democrat. And then you have him speaking as a dragon, which is the draconian law that they're passing. It says, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him. So he's operating like Rome, trying to conquer the world, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven, his missile system, on the earth in the sight of men. Once again, every day they're dropping missiles through drones, whatever. But they dropped those atomic bombs on Japan, on Ammon, and that's never happened besides then. All right, so this is to identify them, the so-called white man, the wicked. And if it ain't them, who is it? It's only them. It's the so-called white race. That's why they're going to be made extinct eventually. That's the end of their story. After 1,000 years after America's destruction, they're going to be enslaved for 1,000 years. And after that 1,000 years, they're going to be burnt into ash, man, to be made extinct. It says, and he exerciseth all the power, on verse 13, and he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth, in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, through his technologies, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, which he has EU, which has NATO. America is the whore that rides the beast. All right? The military might of that beast is NATO. It says, and you got the heathen that is joined with them through the UN. All right? They're not part of EU. All right, but they're confederate to the so-called white man, which they show their allegiance through the United Nations. It says that too in the Bible, that this devil would mingle himself with the heathen, with the seed of men, which is the other nations. That's why Israel, we're going to have all these heathen in slavery under us. We've been enslaved by these bastards, for a long time, man, since Egypt. All right? And we've been persecuted by these devils since the beginning, since the serpent in the Garden of Eden. All right? So these devils, the so-called white race, have how to pay. That's why they have no future. It says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. New world order. We should all become one. Leave your laws and do as I command you. Which had the womb by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. The image is the system. All right, so they're going to say, if you don't want to be part of the system, you got to die. Get off the fucking earth. And I heard an elite say that. He said, we're going to become gods, and if you don't like that, you could get the fuck off my planet. That's what the wicked is. That's what they say in their heart. But they're not right, because the Lord didn't make this world for their sakes. He made it for the Israelites. And we're at the end of our being humiliated by these heathen, and soon now honor. All right. And these devils, all right, we're going to put them away. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So that device, he's going to make it mandatory for you to take that, whether you feel right about it or not. He's going to tell you, hey, leave your law and follow my law. All right. It says, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark. So that's how he's going to do it. He's going to cause chaos to bring forth his one world order. Or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, which is that so-called white man. All right. And his number is 666, which is Chi Xi Stigma. All right. Which is Greek alphabet. Why were we speaking Greek? Because the Greeks were over us. They were oppressing us. All right. Even though we got the temple back, all right, they came back. The devil fleeth, and then he came back. All right. So the Lord, he uses this devil against us to punish us. But as soon as this devil pretty much thinks he's going to rule the world, the Lord brings him down. All right. And he's bringing us up, and he's going to set us up, and he's going to establish us forever. That's what he's doing right now. He's establishing the Israelites, the righteous of his nation that are righteous in his righteousness, all right, to rule the world. That's what he's doing. He's setting us up. Before you're a lawyer, you have to go to school and study and test and do all these things, do these exams to show that you're legit for the job. Well, that's what we're doing right now as we're practicing the righteous acts, prophesying of Yahushai's return and sighing and crying for all the abominations that are committed in the midst of Jerusalem. Because you got to remember, there was wicked men back in the day, and they're here today. The wicked men even brought Yahushai to Pontius Pilate and said, let Caesar be their king. All right, that's what they're going to do with the MOTB today. All right, let me get it. It says, let's see. Right there, verse 11. First Maccabees, verse 11. And in those days went there out of Israel wicked men. So these are Israelites that are wicked, who persuaded many false prophets, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. So that's what they're going to do again. They're going to say, hey, man, take that thing. What do you think they did with the JAB, with that juicy fruit? You had all these basketball players, these movie stars, these Jakes saying they were on their technology, on the miracles, right? Deceiving the world, telling you to take that thing, right? Now look, people are dropping dead. It says, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. So that when you take that MOTB, you're going to die with it. All right, that's a guarantee. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. And that's what Esau's going to do. He's going to stop you from buying and selling, all right, being able to travel. He's going to make life hard on you. And then he's going to say, if you take this thing, it'll be easy for you. And you're going to have even your own people trying to sell you out. In this time, just like in the past. So this device pleased them well. So they're going to be happy to take it. All right. It says in verse 16, now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt that he might have the dominion of 2 realms. Which, remember, they had different, from the 4 generals that were under Alexander that split his kingdom up. All right. Antiochus wanted Ptolemy's plot of land. All right. And they warred amongst each other. Even though they were trying to organize the world under their rule, they were killing each other, which is a trait of the so-called white race. They do it today. Let me grab that. In Revelation 6, it says, it says, verse 8, and I looked and behold a pale horse, which follows the red horse, which that red horse is representing Esau. And Esau brings the pale horse, all right, and his name that sat on him was Death. So Esau brings death. That's why the Lord uses him as a sword. And Hell, which is the grave, followed with him. And power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth, which there's a certain limit that he's allowed to kill. So there's a hedge around the elect. That's why he could kill Gaddafi. They could kill, they could even, kill Kanye West in the public eye. But they haven't touched the prophets, which say much more truth than all these people put together. All right. But they can't touch us yet because the Lord, he pretty much is holding back the devil so that the elect could be sealed. But then he's going to allow the devil to come down with great wrath, fulfilling prophecy, to fight against his elect. And the Lord is going to save us. All right? He's going to save us, and we're going to own our oppressor and their possessions. All right? It says, and power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with beasts of the earth. All right. Let me see. There was a part where it says they kill each other. Salak. There it is, verse 4. Salakia. Let me start at 3. It says, verse 4 is fine. And there went out another horse that was red. Edom. That's what Edom means, red. They're not white, they're red. And power was given to him, to the so-called white race, that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Why are they raising the inflation? Why are they devaluating the dollar? Why are they, why is there people starving in the world? It's because the so-called white race. Why does any evil happen on the earth? It's because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai has created the weapon, the so-called white man, which is a sword, all right? And he gave him many swords, which he has the CDC, that's a sword. The Lord gave him to use to kill. Remember, it says he'll kill using the beasts of the earth. In verse 8, at the bottom, all right? And with the beasts of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth, which he controls the diseases. It says in verse 4, it says, and there went out another horse that was red, Edom, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one and another All right, there you go. They kill one and another. And there was given unto him a great sword. That's why World War I, World War II, that was them killing each other. For what? For power. And that's what's happening right now. They're going to kill each other for power. But power is going to be taken from them and given to the Israelites. These devils will kill for power, all right? And that's what it's talking about. Now I'm going to jump down to verse 20. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, which he took over Egypt, he had the Hamites kill Ptolemy. He returned again in the 143rd year and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude, and entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof, which the Romans did, as Yahushua prophesied in Matthew 24. All right, that the abomination of desolation shall be standing in the holy place, which is the Roman Edomites. And they even have the Arch of Titus showing you, all right, because of the pride of these devils. They have themselves running off with our menorahs, all right, which the menorah is a symbol in the time of Hanukkah of the Lord's mercy on us, the Israelites. All right, that light represents the spirit today. The candles are the men, all right, and the whole entire candlestick itself are the showbread or the wine. It's all in metaphorical talk of the body of Yahushua, which is the church, the Israelite men that are out here sighing and crying and prophesying. We've been in every generation, all right? A remnant of us has been in every generation. It says, and the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. So this is why we're poor. They took everything that's ours. Look what they did to the North American Indian, the Seminole Indian, the Cuban, the Puerto Rican, the South American. Why? Because those are the Israelites. He robbed us. Puerto Rican means port of riches. Where are those riches? Look at Puerto Rico today and look at who they worship. The so-called white Jesus. And look at the state that they're in. And that's supposed to be a territory to the United States, which that reflects the hate that the so-called white man has for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Look at Haiti. You know who rules over these countries like that? United Nations. But look at the state it is in. All right? Look at the state of these places that Esau has went in. He has destroyed and slaughtered the people, changed the laws. All right? This is what he's going to do in these last days. He's changing the laws right now so that he could come in and slaughter. That's why they're pushing all these executive orders. And the reason they're going to be able to slaughter you is because they're telling you that if you don't take their device, you're an enemy to the state. If you don't believe their lies, you're a terrorist to their system. All right? So you got to be with the Lord to be saved through this. All right? It's called Jacob's trouble for a reason. He's coming down with great wrath upon you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Believe it or not, it don't matter. It's going to come to pass. It says, he took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. You know the Northern Kingdom, they had cities of gold. You know who took it? The so-called white race. Also, he took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, which he took everything, man. We have nothing. We don't even have the right to control our children. It says, he went into his own land having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly. What did Alexander Jackson do to the North American Indian? What did Columbus, all right, Cristobal Colon do to the so-called Cuban? What did the so-called white man do to the so-called American Negro in slavery? It says, therefore, there was a great mourning in Israel in every place where they were. And the Lord says, in the time when Cain killed Abel, that Abel's body, his blood, cried from the ground, which when you die, your body goes into the dust of the earth, and then your spirit returns to him who created it. And the Lord, he knows why people die. There ain't no secrets, So the Lord, he has all these Israelites crying in his ear. Let me get it. But eventually, the Lord allows Israel to have victory. But I want to get the point of this devil coming down on Israel with great wrath like he's going to. But at the end, we're going to have victory. It says in verse 29, and after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute. So after he did a great slaughter and talked all that shit, blasphemy against Yahweh, against Yahushai, against his men, against everything. It says he sends a chief collector of tribute. He makes you pay taxes to him for kicking your ass, for slaughtering you. Just like now. He took the land from the northern kingdom, even the so-called Mexicans. This was once Mexico all the way up to Colorado. And now they saying it's an invasion of illegal immigrants. See the blasphemy? See the pride of these fucking devils? It says, and after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them. And that's what this devil does now. Oh, I wasn't them. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. They act like they make themselves seem very peaceful, unable to do these things that their forefathers did. But when you're looking at it at the big picture, they're still doing it. They're slaughtering the children of the Israelites in their abortion clinics. They're turning our men into homosexuals. They're turning our women out. So much that now they want to be men. It says, but all was deceit. You shall not die. But what happens to Israel? They die. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore and destroyed much people of Israel. And that's what's happening right now. The gates are open on intention, man. He's bringing all you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians into America because he's talking peacefully right now, but he's going to come down with great wrath. He's going to nuke this place. It's in his heart. The Lord put it there because this is the Lord's plan. He's going to kill 2/3 of our people here in America because they are wicked beyond change, man. They're no good. They're corrupted beyond any value. So they're going to show their deceit. They're going to show their corruption by taking that wicked device. That it's really not wicked. The device was given to the wicked, and it's in a purpose that is wicked, which is an abomination. Putting that device in your skin, that's a wicked thing. You're not supposed to cut your flesh, and you're not supposed to bow before any of these men. Our God he gave us our king, Yahushai, the King of Kings. And Yahushai is going to establish King David. All right? On earth. All we have to do is wait. All right? But this devil, he's doing the same thing that he did in the past. He's coming down with great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time. He's going to fill America full of Israelites, so he could destroy it. That's why you have a straight line from South America of so-called so-called Mexicans, so-called South Americans, so-called Caribbeans. You got even people from China trying to come up in there, from the Middle East trying to come up in from the southern border. All right, so the Lord's bringing all these people in just to be destroyed. It says, and when he had taken the spoils of the city, which he's literally taking your wealth from you right now, he set it on fire. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to nuke it and pull down the houses and walls thereof on every side. All right, let me get that. It says right here, verse 20 of Revelation 18, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for Yahweh hath avenged you on her. Let me go to 17. Verse 1, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Which this whore is very proud, okay? They don't believe that they could be taken down. It says right here, it says, what was it? The spirit it was in my mind, it fled from me. Oh, 18. It says, verse 5, for her sins, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you double. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double. What America's gonna be destroyed. The Edomites that are here in America are gonna be destroyed, and then they're gonna go into slavery for 1,000 years, and then be destroyed again, ultimately, where they're made extinct. It says, and double unto her, double according to her works, for the wickedness, because it corrupted the whole earth. And the cup which she hath filled to her double, how much she had glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. So that's the pride of these devils today in America. And I hear it myself. Oh, that could never happen. Or like when they said that America had part in the destruction of that pipeline between Germany and Russia. You heard everybody saying, no, Russia did it themselves, right? Which, I mean, it's possible. But it's like everybody blame, they pretty much count America as, as this white knight. Which it says the devil shall transform himself into an angel of light. Which they try to show you that they're a peaceful people. They don't mean you no harm, but in reality, in their mind, on their heart, is nothing but war against you. They war against us. They poisoning the air. They're poisoning our food. They're poisoning our minds. They're poisoning everything. All right, look at the 5G. What is that doing to us? All right, if you look at a tree and you see how sickly these trees look, all right, then think about what you look like from what the men look like from the ancient world, or women. All right, today everything walking around is defiled. That's why the Lord has to give us new bodies and new spirits, because this time in this world it's wicked, man. But soon the wickedness is going to end, because he's going to establish righteousness using the Israelites that are prophesying and establishing righteousness today through Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right, it says, to the point, all right, it says, Verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, the European Union, which have received no kingdom as yet, but they're trying to get this, right? This one world unity going, right? But receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So when they make that MOTB mandatory, the Lord is going to destroy this world, America, in 1 hour. It says, these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So they all want to rule, right? They want the so-called white race to continue. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb, which is Yahushua, shall overcome them. For he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushua, hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushua, shall be fulfilled. Which this is that nuclear destruction. All right? They're all in agreement. They're going to bring forth that NWO. They have the device, the MOTB, which they're going to make mandatory that you have it in your body for buying and selling, which is an abomination, a condemnation to any Israelite that takes it. Do not take it. It's better to die. Death is gain in this situation. All right? But them that endure unto the end are the same that shall be saved, just as it is written. So I pray for all the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that you brothers are able to endure until the end. And Abba Babal, which I pray for the Lord to bring his judgment on the wicked and on the heathen and destroy Babylon. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Endure, brothers.